Hello, Lothar here, PCT HIKER 2021. Today I'm going to talk about hiker hunger. Now, maybe I'm strange, but I actually didn't ever experience hiker hunger. What I had was massive hiker eating capacity, which is very different. What I found was I actually needed to actively force myself to eat more rather than have a hunger desire to eat. So I don't know what other people's experiences are, but I should explain. I started probably about 30 pounds overweight. I started at 200 pounds and I lost 35 pounds by the time I got to Mammoth Lakes, which is about 700 miles in. So it's actually surprisingly hard to eat enough calories whilst you're hiking. Now, what I would suggest you do is you can either take the approach whereby you analyse your calorie intake to death, have a spreadsheet, calculate at least X number. But what I found was I found it very, very hard to calculate and have enough calories per day that I was satisfied. So what I did was I started hiking. I aimed at having breakfast, lunch and dinner. I would have snacks through the day, and my first attempt was let's roughly say that's about 3,500 calories to 4,000 calories, and see how I go. Now what I found was, as I was going and my style of hiking, I'm actually genuinely a very fast hiker compared to others, but that's I like going fast, so I'm probably burning a little bit more. And I found my body mass, I was shedding weight like crazy, such that by the time I was at Mammoth, I looked like a skeleton. And that told me that I was clearly not eating enough. I actually felt okay. When I got to town or had breakfast or a lunch or dinner in town, I would eat massive amounts like everybody. But again, I never felt the urge to, other than the fact that I just felt, I'd eat something, I'm not full, I'll have something else, have some ice cream, and I would pack out. I wasn't methodically thinking about calories. As I said, when I got to Mammoth and I stayed in a hotel and I had a full-length mirror, I was quite shocked. I'd never seen myself quite so thin. I was a skeleton. And speaking to various people, and a friend back in England who's a doctor told me that I needed to now actively increase my calorie intake. Now, as I said, I didn't feel hunger. This was the point. I wasn't having this burning urge to eat. So I made the decision to increase my calorie intake by whatever I was doing, basically 30% more. So what I was carrying and what had been working for me, and I was obviously losing weight as I was going. So I was obviously not taking my daily intake was not obviously enough for how many calories I actually burned. But I was now at the point where my body couldn't lose much more weight. So I now had to really get it dialed in. Increased my food intake by about 30%, and having the larger rucksack allowed me to do that, so I could pack it in, and that actually worked, surprisingly. I ate more snacks, I ate more candy than maybe I should have done, but again, I wasn't putting on the weight, I kept the weight off. I would find that when I was in town, I'd go out to meet people, have a meal, and then I might have another meal, and the effect of that was very eye-opening for me. Again, is that whenever I was in town, my, shall we say, the bear in the woods moments, my bowel movements, dramatically increased because I was eating so much more. And it was very strange in the fact that at one point I was in a town, I stuffed my face full of food, and I went full bear in the woods 3 times through one night, because my body was processing food so quickly. Once I got back onto trail, it dialed back to normal. But it was strange how the use of towns was packing in the calories, but your body was processing it just as quick, almost in overdrive. And then once I got back on trail, I was eating more. As I did, 30% more was just enough to get me to the end of the trail. I still looked like a skeleton, but I felt absolutely fine. I never felt undernourished or unable to complete my task in terms of getting up a hill or down a hill. And the sad thing for me is, since I finished, within 3 months, the 35 pounds is back on, which I dislike intensely. But I have to say, my legs, my leg muscles are absolutely ripped. I mean, they're just looking, I can't stop looking at them. They're really good. I mean, I am still back section hiking again, but I've now got this paunch of 35 pounds back on my stomach, which I had before. So it's obviously that's my natural body weight, unfortunately, due to middle age. But it showed that I can shed that weight and then put it back on again, and it didn't do any particularly undue harm to me. And my body reacted well to the stresses and then recovered. So yeah, don't get too hung up on the exact calories. Look at your body mass. One piece of advice I should say is don't start the trail being super thin and super athletic. You actually want some residual body mass, because you're going to lose it, you're going to burn it, and you need that extra capacity. And I do remember one of the trail angels at the start was talking to one of the hikers who was really very thin, explaining to him, be careful, because you don't actually have any spare capacity in body mass, so you've got to get your food right early on. So that's a bit careful. You're having a little. It's like when you run a marathon, you pack on the carbs. Well, you're going to be hiking a marathon for the next 115 days, so packing a few carbs on before you start is not a bad idea. Anyway, I hope that's helpful to you. If you're one of these people that can really dial it in, spreadsheet, calculate everything, that's great. I would word of warning in terms of, as you go down the trail, your tastes change, or mine certainly did, and a lot of people I was hiking with were certainly changing their desires. The idea of trying to pack on calories through olive oil and things like that. I know people added that to lots of food. Now, I tried that. My body didn't like that. I actually had some real problems, stomach problems, if I had too much oil added. So again, try that maybe there's things like that where you can pack on calories before you start through hike, to see what your body. I think your body needs to put up some tolerance to those sorts of things if you dramatically change what your body's used to. But it's a great way of adding calories if your body can take it. And there's also certain high calorie foods that in theory should be great, but can you actually eat them, and can your body tolerate them? So again, I'd try those before you commit, maybe investing huge amounts of money in planning 150 days worth of food all in one go. Now, if you have special dietary requirements, then my heart goes out to you. That's a lot harder for you, and I can't imagine how difficult that is. But try and be imaginative in terms of what your tastes are going to change, and your capacity to eat is going to change. So if you can stay flexible and not commit to investing in too much food, that's great. And if you can't, then you can't, and I can only sympathise. Either way, I wish you guys all the best. Don't be surprised, as I say, your taste will change, your intake will change dramatically, and if you feel hiker hunger, good for you. I didn't. I feel as I missed out on something, but my capacity to eat was massive. So anyway, whatever experience you have, I hope it's a good one. Anyway, take care. Speak to you soon.